Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to NDTV's flagship series, India Through the Eyes of Its Icons. Icons are usually self-made people, or they better themselves as they move on. Our icon today is not only a completely self-made man, Mr. Boman Irani, but somebody who has also enamored, charmed the whole nation for now close to 2 decades. Mr. Boman Irani, welcome to NDTV.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Maria. Thank you for having me. I want to know how much did my PR team pay you guys to get me onto this?
None. They did not pay us anything.
Are the kind of people who have been on the show, and it's called India Through the Eyes of Icons, and here I am, a very eager young actor who is so proud to be here. That's what I was trying to say. I'm so proud to be here.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Boman Irani, your acting career begins at a very young age of 41. And so usse pehle it was photography. You had captured India through the lens of a photographer, and then you worked in the hospitality sector as well. Before that. So while you were, dabbling between so many roles, which one is it, and when was it that you realized that it is acting?
I think when I was very young, my love was always cinema, actually. I used to watch all kinds of movies even at a very young age. Very young, and a lot of people used to wonder why I would watch movies that were not part of my pay grade. Why am I watching these kind of movies? Not because they were adult or they were, I just loved the movies. And my mother encouraged me to watch movies. I understood the world, humanity, the human condition, art, music, drama, lyrics, everything. Lighting, I love lighting. So my thing was I always wanted to be a director, actually. Strangely. I never saw myself in movies, but I love to act. But just chronologically to take you through it all, I started in the hospitality business. I was a waiter at the Taj for a couple of years. And then I worked at a family wafer shop for 14 years. Then took up photography. While I was halfway through my photography career over the weekend, I did theater. And then beckoning happened through the film industry. So that's the chronological thing. But my heart was always to stand behind the camera and boss people.
And you boss people, that's a nice one. But you are somebody like, who's a natural actor, Mr. Irani. You are like...
Boman.
Boman. You are somebody who's very, almost perfectly natural for an actor.
Sachmuch. Chalo, theek hai. I feel that, thank you, but I feel that natural acting comes from repetition. And repetition. Your script, the spoken word, behavior, your action, what is it you want, what is it you are doing in the film, has to do with actually reflection of who you are, what the character is, and knowing your lines. Because the moment you're searching for lines, your mind, your eyes are somewhere else. Even if they're looking straight, the eyes are going somewhere else. The great Spencer Tracy says always to advise to young actors, learn your lines, hit your marks, and don't bump into the furniture. And that means so much because the naturality that you say, and I'm grateful for that, comes from practice. Because if you don't know your craft, you will never be able to be truthful. First, you put everything into that moment, and then allow yourself to be truthful. It is the truthfulness that looks natural, not the chabana, chai pina. That's not exactly what natural acting is supposed to be. Natural acting is being comfortable in the skin of the character.
So it's like practice makes the man perfect.
I think it should be part of your DNA.
Yeah.
It should be part of your DNA.
So 2003 is when Munna Bhai MBBS happens to you.
Right.
Dr. Asthana. And then in 2009 is when you become Virus in Three Idiots. and then you make a directorial venture through Mehta Boys.
Right.
It has been quite a journey.
Yes.
But these two characters were particularly those which are seen as iconic. Would you say that they reshaped your entire, acting career?
You're absolutely right. People identify me with these two characters. I have had a learning curve through a lot of other characters too, but yes, there's no denial that these two, and if I might be allowed to put in one more, was Khosla Ghosla Khurana. Because, and you're all from Delhi, right? And I was cast for that role and I was very hesitant. I went to Delhi to do some research on the character and I met a young actor over there, not young in my eyes, who said, I'm a little upset with you. I said, why? He said, I auditioned for this role. And of course, you didn't get it. So, but why are you upset with me? Tell the casting director or the director, why are you blaming me? He says, you see, you're a Parsi from Bombay. You're a Parsi from Mumbai. If I get a very important role of a Parsi in Mumbai, how would you feel? Yeah, he got a point. I said, now what are we going to do about this? So I said, and I gave such a fantastic audition. I researched and researched. I said, I tell you what, I got a better idea. Teach me. Help me. You must take help. And I used his help and I sat with him and I did my research. For me, it was a very crucial role in my life, simply because it was the first time I was playing a character that did not live in Mumbai. Who did not live in Mumbai. All the other characters up until then were Mumbaikars, even in theatre. So I had to go to Delhi and sell to the audience that this guy comes from this ilaka in Delhi. And that was tough, really, really tough, because I was tough on myself. So yes, that's a very, very definitive character in my journey. But I will always be grateful to Three Idiots and Munna Bhai, and Lagero Munna Bhai also.
Yes.
But Boman, the kind of movies that they are, Munna Bhai, MBBS, Three Idiots, they're like, enamoring movies. They enamor audiences. They're affectionate movies. They're movies that you would love.
Across generations.
Across generations, and possibly, cutting across all age groups.
Correct.
From children to older people. They're affable movies. Do you think that part of the challenge that Bollywood today faces, and this is a question that I often ask all my all the individuals that I interview for this series, is coming from the fact that we're not experimenting with movies. The genre of movies that we are trying to make, the experimentation is less, or is it because audiences' taste themselves are evolving at this point in time?
I think the audience tastes always give us a good movie, we'll watch it. And you can't say this is a genre or this is the kind of movie. No, I think audiences want to watch a good movie. They're paying good money to watch a good movie, and even if they're spending their now hard-earned time.
Of course.
On a good movie. However, I'll say this, that when people are making movies, I think the subjects that are chosen have to have some contemporary consciousness. Like for example, you somewhere at some point in the movie should ask yourself this question: what if I was in the shoes of that character? It could be the story of an astronaut. Now you might say, how is that part of my consciousness? It's not. But the behavior, the want of the character's innate humanity, if it doesn't connect with you, then you're watching just a sci-fi film of an astronaut. But if you connect with that character and say, I kind of gave that kind of answer to my superior once, and I paid my price for it, or whatever. But you have to connect with people. If you don't connect with people, what you're doing is, you're telling a story full of events. This happened, uske baad ye hua, and stories are not necessarily only about events. They are about human beings and how they are being squeezed through difficult situations and how they come out of it. And you have to allow the audience to put themselves in the shoes of that character. Maybe we are missing out on that.
Empathy.
That's the word. Maybe we're missing out on that. And the moment you see that, you know, there's a character that feels, is in pain, is in a duvidha, is in some kind of dilemma and has to make decisions, you start having empathy. Not because he's miserable, because you have to give a character choices that are difficult. And you say, what if I had that choice? And you start involving yourself in the story, not necessarily the events of the story.
And do you think that is the reason why these two characters in particular, because they were at that intersection of pathos and humor, did so well?
Sure. But I'll tell you, I always wondered why someone like Virus would be so loved.
Yes.
I, for the life of me, cannot believe the kind of love that Virus has got. When we shot the movie, went home, Kadus, yeah, unhappy, dukhi atma, jo bhi hai. I do believe the audience empathized with him because they found something in him that they kind of liked.
And connected with?
And hope that he will change. They see themselves in a person that if he changed and acknowledged that he was wrong, then even I can change. That's the empathy that we're looking for. And I think that's why people like him, because people gave him a chance to be a better human being. I think that's why people like Virus very much.
And Boman, tell me something, you know, today we live in an era, unfortunately, where there's so much of pressure on the students, and every year we see that some unfortunate incidents like student suicide, etc., continue to happen. You have probably, as you talk about contemporary consciousness,
right,
you have probably worked in the only successful contemporary movie which dabbles with this subject in the recent times. I'm sure there would be others at various other points in time.
Right.
However, commercially successful movie that has dabbled with that subject was Three Idiots.
Right.
Tell me something, what is your advice after having gone through that churn and also having seen the life through the entire prism of it? The struggle, the success, the achievement, every prism of life you have seen. What is your advice to children? What is your advice to teenagers? What is your advice to people who have struggles to face in their life?
Couple of things. Before, I beg your pardon, Three Idiots, there was almost a daily affair where some kid who's come under so much of pressure has gone and done what they did. I think there has been a sharp drop after Three Idiots, when those beautiful lines were spoken at the end of it. They say, don't run after money, run after excellence. Right? That's what we're asking for. We don't need you to make the grade by way of numbers. That's what the theme of the film was. And I think it impacted people in a big way. Another film, I was not part of it, but I have to mention it, is Tare Zameen Par.
Yes.
Now, what's this pressure? Where is it coming from? Not just because people want to excel or fail in their attempt to excel, but also we are more abreast, thanks to the awareness that movie created, with learning disability. So it's not that you didn't do your best. You did your best, but there are certain subjects that you are unable to learn like somebody else, like someone who is a whiz at maths, and some other kid is not. It doesn't mean that he is not smart. He is smarter than the mathematic whiz in something else. Yes. It could be sporting genius. It could be musical genius. It could be anything. It could be just picking up a pencil and scratching away at a piece of paper. You're good at that. Chase that dream. You don't have to prove to the world that you're smart because your maths is good. And that's the important thing. Parents should not pressurize their children. Why can't you understand that 68 divided by root is not the end of the world, or it's not the cornerstone of intelligence? So I think these two movies have been very, very important. But however, coming back to your question, all I say is, if you find a nursery in where you can excel, take your children and place them in that nursery, whether it's music, whether it's maths, whether it's IT, whether it's whatever, journalists. Give them that seat. Don't give them the seat where you think that that's where there is respectability. Youngsters should not be disappointed by exam results. They shouldn't. I never got great results, but I excelled in all the other things that I'm doing well in today, in school, on the stage. You see what I'm saying? So you have to give that child that nursery. This is your nursery.
Chase the dreams.
Chase where you're happy.
Chase where you're happy.
Yes.
Don't be miserable because you're being compared to somebody else.
All the time.
And then Instagram does not help. Everybody's supposed
Move
to
away
look
from
like
social media.
Everybody's supposed to look like $1 million. Everybody can't be like you guys. You know.
So, you know, the point that Nikunj made particularly with regards to the scripts, or did that, you know, motivate you to start your own script writing or that entire screenwriting workshop that you do regularly? 700 plus hours already?
790. Not 790 hours. 790 sessions of an hour and a half each and maybe more. So this started in the pandemic, where a couple of 2 or 3 young writer-directors who I was mentoring, we should talk on the phone continuously. I said, I'm repeating myself. He's saying, let's do it on Zoom. And then ये कम्बख्त Zoom क्या है? मुझे थोड़ी मालूम था कि Zoom एक साथ बैठ के हम लोग बात कर सकते हैं एक दूसरे के चेहरे देख के. I really had no idea. But they came the next day and I conducted that little workshop for three different people, because I'm repeating the same thing. He said, you know, we can call more people tomorrow. Do you mind if we call some friends? So 10 turned up, the next day 25 turned up. Before you know it, now we have 2,000. And it is an endeavor to just teach people the power of screenwriting. Because you may have a great story. You can tell that great story in a narration across a table, but now you have to break it up into scenes and dialogue. And that's the tricky part. How do you hold the attention of the audience? So that's what we teach, the science of screenwriting. And I'm proud to say this, and we are not advertising, right? I'm proud to say that it's free. Anyone can join, anyone. I don't take an entrance test because I know of so many people who joined Spiral Bound, that's the name of the group, who joined, who did not know how to write, and today they have a flourishing career. And the first scene that I read of theirs was disastrous.
It's a mentorship program.
Yeah, it is meant for people to realize not what they are necessarily just good at, but what they love. And come, anyone come, you join, anyone can come.
That's your repayment to the society.
Well, if you put it like that, in a sense, yes, it's gratitude to the film industry that's given me the honor of sitting here today talking amongst other icons.
Let me ask you one question, Mr. Irani. How much did the movies that you did, like 3 Idiots or Munna Bhai MBBS,
right,
Lage Raho Munna Bhai, how much did they change you?
I think there are two things. One is a human path and one is an actor's path.
Yeah, I'm talking of the human path, frankly.
Yeah, so the actor's path you learn every single day. But to me, more important is to understand the human path. In every character that we write in screenwriting, this is the thing that we teach. The character wants something. He wants something. He wants to be something or win a prize or complete a big insurmountable task. And he goes hammer and tongs for it, and that's the basic structure of your film. But towards the end of the film, there is something that a character needs to do, and that is, what does he want, but what does he need? And that is the internal. That's got to do with your soul. And if you don't have a character who makes a change to his soul, he's not worthy of getting that prize that he's been seeking. You may win the prize, but he's the same old not nice guy. And you don't want to root for that. You want to root for a guy.
A nice guy.
A guy who who changes. And if he doesn't change, that film becomes a tragedy, like The Godfather.
Yes.
He was a army captain, a veteran, became a don.
Yes.
So that is the trajectory of a
the
tragedy.
transformation, yeah.
Yeah, but even in a Munna Bhai, he changes, and then you're rooting for him. Even for a hero who is flawed, and characters must be flawed. All of us are flawed. All of us have failings. You need to fix that failing by the end of that story. So, of course, not just these two movies, every single experience, good and bad, have impacted me as a human being, for sure. It definitely makes you feel that you don't have to be the cat's whiskers in the eyes of box office. You just have to do your best.
The power of laughter.
Yeah.
You know, and particularly what we have seen is in terms of how comedy is also about critiquing society, and it's also a social commentary, which your cinema has invariably portrayed. Do you think Indian cinema lacks that laughter right now?
I haven't seen a good comedy in quite a while, actually. You're right.
Why don't you make one?
Yeah. Yeah, sure, why not? I think comedy has got power even in your home. Even in a home where there is stress or tension within the family, I think it's wonderful to use comedy as a power. Break the ice, to let go of your ego, let go of old, grudges, and move on with it. I love the use of comedy. I love the use of comedy.
So why don't you make one? Why don't you try one?
We will. I think the film that I wrote and directed has a reasonable amount of comedy, not in a jokey sense, but it's there. You can see yourself looking stupid, and you laugh at that.
Tell me something, something changed with you in the sense that, if my memory serves me right, previously comedians or people who brought comic relief, let me put it like that, in the movies, were not somehow their level of engagement with the movie, or let me put it easily, like they were always the side characters.
There was always an item number.
Yeah, they were always the side show.
Right.
With you, you became the fulcrum of the movie. Even if you were not the superstar of the movie, you were not Amir Khan, but you were, fulcrum of the movie in one. The movie had to be on that pillar. Do you think it's your personal achievement, it's the achievement of the story, it's the achievement of the director, it's the achievement of the evolution of the society?
Sure, I think in movies where you have to give it, if you're speaking of Three Idiots, of course, Raju Hirani has got that wry smile in the inside of his mustache all the time, But I think what you're saying is that I think the character in Three Idiots was not trying to make you laugh. It's just that he's a pathetic character that people want to laugh at, because you're a fool for thinking the way you are. He's not doing anything that's outrageous. It's not that kind of a comedy to begin with. So yeah, I think it's important to understand that today comedy can be, and I'm not using the word subtle, but comedy can be a very integral part of the storytelling process.
And society probably needs it, because we are increasingly so stressed.
Terribly.
So stressed all the time.
Terribly. We need to relax. And I'm proud that people accepted that this character, even though he was a grumpy old guy, he's a grumpy man. Why are people finding it funny? For no other reason, because he is grumpy. And people don't like grumpy people, and I said, give him hope. Give him hope.
Perhaps his comic timing was right.
I have no idea about that.
And it worked.
People ask me, what is comic timing? No idea how to answer that question.
So what would you like to be remembered for? Your legacy?
Hey, I'm still very young. Okay.
Yeah, she started on a wrong
Started,
note.
yeah, what
and
we
then
remembered for Baba, where am I going?
Legacy. Okay,
I
let me
made my
rephrase it.
debut
Impact.
this year.
Impact.
I just made my debut this year. What are you talking, Maria? So in my head, I've got lots to do. In my head, I've got lots to achieve, lots to fulfill for myself personally. So I think it would be arrogant of me to say I should be remembered for this. If at all you're forcing me to answer this question, I'd like to be known as someone who fulfilled his childhood dreams.
That's lovely.
That's it.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Mr. Boman, one thread I have been noticing for last 20-25 minutes that we've been speaking is that you're trying very consciously and actively to keep any kind of smell of arrogance at bay. And you probably in your mind are very conscious of the fact that you need to remain humble at all points in time, as a human being. Do you think humility is the biggest virtue that humans can cultivate or reflect?
I don't know about virtue, but I know its power of destruction. So maybe I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there. I've seen a lot of how arrogance and overconfidence can destroy someone and come in the way of creativity. You can be confident of your creativity, but I don't know if I'm consciously doing it. But I am petrified of me losing the me that my friends in school liked. The me that I was when I was struggling. Struggling meaning not known, not famous. I like that guy. I don't want to become anybody else. I want a better version of that guy, but I don't want to lose that innocence. I do remind myself, I don't know how conscious it's coming across you, maybe some kind of whiz psychologist, I must say, but I'm not at all trying hard. It's just that it's become part of my DNA. I fear the consequence of arrogance. The consequence of arrogance, which leads to overconfidence, which leads to obnoxiousness, which leads to the death of creativity. That's my take. Somebody else might revel in it. Good for you. I don't even judge that. This is good for me or bad for me.
Judging again is obviously...
Yes. So let's try and sum this up perhaps with this question. Since you say that you're living your childhood dream, what was the other dream that you had in your childhood which is left to be fulfilled?
All right. So Mehta Boys was one fulfillment.
Yes.
So now that you're saying what's left after that, honestly, I don't want to be a one-film filmmaker. I want to do many more. I enjoyed that stint in my life. I loved every minute of it. I loved the creation of it. I loved the writing of it, the conversion of the page that went on to the set, and from the set that went onto the screen. And for me, it's like living a dream. I'm not joking. I know there have been thousands and thousands of movies made. And I can tell you that a filmmaker, when he sees his movie being on the big screen and people are enjoying it and people call up and respond to it and show you the love, it's the best kind of love for me. So I want more of the same.
More of the affection of people.
No, the process. It's not just the affection. It's the appreciation that, yes, in this day and age, we can make a movie like this that will touch the lives of people. That day I was at a convocation, and the kids were coming on, collecting their degrees and they're walking off. One kid comes and holds my hand, and he just held my hand and looked into my eyes. I said, "What's it, son?" He said, "I watch Mehta Boys." I said, "Thank you for watching Mehta Boys." Saying, "No, my dad and I are friends again." That's the love I'm talking about.
That's transformational. I mean, to make that generational move.
Yeah. And another thing, when you talk a lot, like I teach every day, You got to put your money where your mouth is. What you're teaching should be on screen. You can't say, मैं ये सिखा रहा हूँ, दूसरा मैंने shortcut ले लिया.
Boman, thank you very much for joining us. I mean, almost a learning process for us as well, Maria and me.
That's so kind of you.
Thank you very much for coming to NDTV studios. Thank you very much for sparing the time.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much. Maria, thank you for following this up and having me here. Thank you to the crew. Thank you to the team. Thank you so much.
Thank you.